So look, welcome to the 10K Club. Were you excited about that? We've got Jennifer in the house today. Were you excited about that?
Yeah.
I mean, what was the biggest surprise about that for you though? Because you'd got start just a little you came from a position where you didn't know you'd wanted to do life coaching, you'd had some understanding around it, but you weren't sure what it is that what was the decision that drove you to joining us in the first place? Let's go there first.
Okay. So I've heard you on Clubhouse.
Okay.
And I'm a person and enjoys the energies of others, and it's very easy for me to determine if somebody's authentic and genuine versus somebody who's just trying to sales and do the pitchy thing. And I heard you a few times via Clubhouse in one of the rooms with John Lee, and it was just like every time you spoke with so much like passion for the people you were talking to. And I was like, he's definitely like vocally, you were so different than all of the other speakers. Like you just had this natural way of just making you feel like you were important. And that for me was like, I want to coach like that. I want a coach that actually gives a crap about me and not necessarily my metrics. I mean, yes, the metrics are important, but having somebody who just genuinely cared about the process and what I was going through, and also is very interested in holistic approaches with certain things. All of those key factors really made me wanted to start with you.
I like that. To be honest, the metrics aren't that important. Like, in today's world, people do, obviously money is a key driver for people, but it's actually not. Once, as I said, once you've got the system, set up as I just shared with you, like it's not this thing that people think is going to be like there's a lot of people in the business space that all they talk about is money, and then all it will be is this never, it's never enough. I've heard people say it's never enough, whereas like I'm not, I'm here to tell you you can fully get to a position in a relatively short period of time. You might not want to work any more than you have to, and you can create 20, 30, 50K months without having to consistently drive yourself into the ground. There's no point in that. And I think that's not a very common message, and I don't think a lot of people believe that. But as you know, Jennifer, like 10K in your first month or 2 months, straight off the bat, month and a half, without, and you're just getting started. That's the point of that. And so once you have those systems and structures set up, there's no reason why you can't design that exactly how you want it to be. Like your commitments on your time are different from anyone else, young child, etc., etc., etc. And I really truly believe that with that focus, as you start to grow as an entrepreneur, you might want more one-to-one time. You might not want one-to-many time. You have to trial and test it. You might, like for me, I don't actually just want digital assets that sell online. People think that that's what they want. I have to have, as I was explaining to you earlier, I have to have interaction with my clients, because if I've tried zero interaction and I wasn't very fulfilled in life.
I was just going to say, it probably didn't bring fulfillment, because the driving force was the way in which you help people. And the feeling that it brings to you for helping people, and that was something that I recognized immediately.
It's mutually beneficial. Like I do those two out of all of the things that we provide support wise. What would you say is the best? Because the two live clinics on a weekly basis, I could get someone else to do them for me, and I have done. But what I noticed is without interaction and without a component where I feel that I'm putting value into you guys, there's something kind of missing. We live in a really weird world today with the online space. And Jennifer, you're not on your own. Like with most people who have an online based business, you have to work more on yourself than you ever realized before, because you spend a lot of time on Zoom and spend a lot of time in the online where you're not actually really you're not humanly interacting, so you kind of miss that. But what out of the components support wise did you like the most in terms of, was it the fact that I was there? Was it the support group? Was it the methodology in of itself? Or what would you say?
I mean, I would definitely say all of the above for sure. But if I were to say the one that really helped me in that first 10K was for sure the sessions with you. Like honestly, just speaking with you and also hearing how other people talk about it and their
Mm.
experiences and I appreciate the approach where it's like we're all at different levels. It's not a matter of comparing each other. In addition to that, like we're building this beautiful community of so many talented people and we're just like bouncing off of one another. I mean, the resources are on another level, to be honest, like within our own community and the community that you've built, of course, but having then the opportunity twice a week to like come to you if we have a question and not feel that pressure. Yes, in the beginning, being there every single time is super, super crucial. But then there's going to be a point in the business where it's like, okay, do I need to be there that week or can I be there just once a week versus twice a week? But even knowing that you're there, that I can go back and say, hey, I'm going through this situation. It was such a huge, huge impact for my business.
Oh, I appreciate that. You said earlier, like you could tell that I sounded different, just out of curiosity, because that is something that we're hearing a lot lately. What does that mean for you?
I mean, maybe it's the brain. I'm kidding. No, I think, okay, so how I explain you to other people is that you have a very calming and sincere sound, and you're very authentic within yourself and how you live your life, and that really translates in your tone and your voice. Through that tone, it for me, it's very calming.
I appreciate that. Like, yeah, again, it's so I can explain that. It's because I've been on the exact journey that you have, and so I think sometimes a lot of people have experienced other programs, and that the person that either runs a program is no longer there, or it's been trained by someone else, or that person hasn't actually been a coach or a consultant. Their only part of that business is helping other people to grow a business. That their business is a business helping other people to start a business. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just, I think that's where people miss the empathy. And so I remember as a coach myself, building my coaching business, I know the difference between great mentorship and non-great mentorship. And so and it never gets tiring, because I was also that person who had their own problems, right? Some severe, severe issues internally that I had to work on in order to resolve them, so that I could become someone that could help someone else. So look, yeah, I get that. What was there any?
Oh, and also you're very funny.
Yeah.
Your sense of humor. But the thing is you also have I notice you have three dynamics. It's like you have this calming voice, right? But then when you're on stage, oh my goodness, seeing you at the marketing conference in Brighton, that was hilarious. Like
The big
seeing that
screen.
kind of energy.
We can turn it
But
up.
it was like you cranked it up for sure. And I was like, where did this guy come from? And it was just like so funny seeing just how energetic you were and enthusiastic you were. And you really livened up the experience for sure. But then you also have like this a way of not telling us versus guiding us. Like you don't want to tell us what to do. You very much give us the opportunity to make those mistakes, but in a guiding nature, which for me had been incredibly helpful.
Devin, that's the first time I've heard that for a while. That's a really good one, because that's the difference between great coaching versus just getting someone to tell you something. And unfortunately, today we live in this world where people just pump info, and unfortunately, the difference between just being pumped info versus creating the own resource within yourself becomes obviously much more you bind into that, so it becomes you, thus you get better results. So hey, look, love that. That was very good awareness. Was there any hesitations about joining? Were you worried about anything particular or anything before you started?
Before, of course, it's an investment on yourself, right? You have to decide how much you're worth. And I knew I was worth more given an opportunity. And I needed to make sure that my support system was there in my own personal life to be able to let me have this opportunity to do this for myself. Because again, at least in my household, like if you're somebody who can certainly pay for it for yourself, then great. But because I live in a family house dynamic, I mean, my husband is very important to me, and his opinion about, what we do, this is very much a process in which he's going through as well,
Mm,
because I'm going through it.
yeah.
And so my daughter also is affected by it too.
Mm,
So that had to be a very important discussion had to come before actually making the plunge to do it. But luckily, I know how my husband is. And so I was able to prepare him well enough and give him all the information he was going to need
what did
without
he need in order for him to
like
be?
just understanding that the cost associated was of course a big one, because
Yeah.
it's an investment, and understanding the what I needed to be accountable for, and also how my time was going to be allocated, and our structure and schedules were going to be also altered. And so making sure that it was still working in line with his business,
Mm,
and that wasn't going to affect it too much. But understanding he is supportive of me and my goals, and he knows that I've been on the entrepreneur route for a while. And so the fact that I've decided to do something in which he knows that I'm good at,
mm.
he's just very happy for me. And so that made it a lot easier when we decided to do.
So was he worried about anything in particular?
I mean, I think just the normal stuff of anybody who would invest that kind of money into a new business. It's like you don't know, right? He's very assertive. Sorry, risk assertive. And so he is the kind of person that needs to know all the details and the structure and the planning. And without that, it's very hard for him to visualize the goal and the outcomes.
Mm.
And so having to paint that picture for him, because I'm a very big risk taker calculatively, but I still,
Mm.
I want to make sure that if I jump into something, I'm doing it 110%. And so that was where we were
Well,
at.
that's what I mean. I would say kudos to him, obviously yourself, but like so many people's partners stop them, and that's so amazing that you were able to come to that conclusion together, because it is really important that you have, you're so right when you say it's an impact on me, it's an impact on him, and it's impact on our child as well. As a byproduct of that, you're now much further ahead. You wouldn't been at 10K, 10K, offer. That's incredible straight off the back. So look, that being said, is there anything else that you would say to someone that was potentially wanting to join, but they're on the edge? What would you say to them?
I would say take a look and really evaluate the place in your life that you're in now, and understand what the cost of inaction would be if you didn't move forward.
I think most people don't think about that. The thing that they don't think about is also the fact that if time just continually goes on and nothing changes, every single time that nothing changes, it will get worse. It gets worse, and we get less confident, less personal belief. I find that one difficult. I've got to say, I've always find it difficult because I always see myself as someone like what I'm going to be straight. I've never ever had issues with making those sorts of decisions because I always want to go further forward. I think I've been ingrained so early on with progression versus regression. Plus, I had such a bad upbringing. It's like it can never get that bad. Like I don't want to go that bad again ever. So I'm always going to go forward, regardless of what happens. I'm always progressing. So look, anyway, Jennifer, I really appreciate you, because it doesn't happen without amazing people like yourself that are coachable, that are enjoying the process. And I really appreciate you, and especially your husband. So you guys joined together. So that's even more amazing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been an amazing experience. And if I could just add one more thing, I would say that just to consider how fear is the driving factor, and fear is our brain's way of just, holding us back from doing the things that we're meant to do.